Everyone, welcome back to Edubbey Global Solution. Today we'll be discussing what is known as price elasticity of demand. Now, what do we mean by price elasticity of demand? Price elasticity of demand, which is also known as PED, is a measure of responsiveness of the quantity demanded to a change in price. That is, percentage change in the quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price. That is the formula for price elasticity of demand. Moving to the next slide, where we have one activity, which is among your past question. Which statement about price elasticity of demand is correct? Now let us go to the options. PED measure the change in price divided by the change in the quantity demanded. Is that so according to the definition? No. PED measure the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price. That should be the answer, but let's move on. PED means a change in price will cause an equal change in the quantity demanded. No. PED means a change in demand will result in a greater percentage change in price. No, that is not the definition of PED. It measures the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price. Moving to the next slide, where we have the formula for calculating the percentage change in quantity and also the percentage change in the price, where we have new value minus old value divided by the old value multiplied by 100. Now let us move on. We have an activity here about what is known as price elasticity demand. Now let us look at the question. A quantity demanded for a goods rises from 200 to 240 as a result of price falling from $10 to $9. Calculate the price elasticity of demand. Now, according to our formula for percentage change, we have 200 to be the old quantity and 240 for the new quantity, for the quantity demanded, and we have $10 for old price and $9 for new. Now let us start the calculation. Let us start the calculation now. We have the 200, we have QD, we have our quantity demanded to move from 200 to 240. That means our change in quantity demanded will be 240 minus 200 divided by what is the old quantity? 200 multiplied by 100. Now we have 40 divided by 200 multiplied by 100, which is 20%. Now that we have arrived at the percentage change in quantity demanded, now let us move to the change in price. Change in price, our change in price is from $9 to $10 divided by 10 multiplied by 100. This one gives us minus 1 divided by 10 multiplied by 100, which also gives us minus 10%. Now for us to get our price elasticity of demand, where we have the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price, and we have arrived. Our percentage change in quantity is 20%, while our percentage change in price is minus 10%. So our price elasticity demand will be minus 2. That is our final answer. Now let us pick the correct answer from the two options here. We have 2 and minus 2. Of course, minus 2 is our answer. Correct. Moving to the next slide, where we have the types of price elasticity of demand. Now we have elastic demand, inelastic demand, perfectly elastic demand, perfectly inelastic demand, and unit elasticity of demand. Now let us look at elastic demand. Elastic demand occurs when the quantity demand changes by a greater percentage than the change in price. That is, our price elasticity demand will be greater than 1. Let us look at the diagram representing elasticity demand. As you can see, a smaller change in price cause the relatively large in percentage quantity. Now let us move back. We have an inelastic demand also. We have inelastic, which occur when the quantity demanded changes by a smaller percentage change in price. Now let us see inelastic when the quantity demanded change by a smaller percentage in price. There will be a large increase. Let us see, we have inelastic here where we have the bigger changes in price which result to a smaller change in quantity demanded. Now moving to the next type of elasticity of demand, where we have perfectly elastic demand, which occurs when a change in price causes a complete change in quantity demanded. That is, price elasticity demand will be equal to infinity. And perfectly inelastic demand, which occurs when a change in price has no effect on the quantity demanded. That is, our price elasticity of demand will be 0 then. And also we have unit elasticity of demand, which occurs when the changes in price causes an equal change in quantity demanded. That is, our price elasticity demand will be equal to 1. Here we have the perfect elastic, perfectly inelastic, and the unitary elasticity. Now here we also have an activity which is also part of your past question. It's also part of your past question. Now let us. The diagram shows the demand curve for rice. Now this is the diagram. What is the price elasticity of demand for rice as price increases from $1 to $1.5 per kilo? Now let us interpret this first before moving on to calculation. Let us interpret it first. We have the price increases from $1 to $1.5. That means $1.1 is our old price, while our $1.5 is our new price. Now move to the quantity. Let us move to the quantity. The quantity, we have the old quantity to be 30, and we have the new quantity to be 27. Now let us move to the calculation before we choose our answer. Let us move to the calculation before we now choose the. Now we said our QD moves from 30 to 27, while our P moves from $1 to $1.5. Now moving back to our formula, where we have the percentage change in quantity to be the difference between the old minus, we have the new minus, which is 27, minus 30 divided by the old quantity also multiplied by 100. Here we have minus 3 divided by 30 multiplied by 100, which gives us minus 10%. That is our percentage change in quantity. Now percentage change in price. We have the new price to be 1.5 and the old price to be 1.0 divided by 1.0 multiplied by 100 multiplied by 100, which gives us 2. We have 0.5 divided by 1.0 multiplied by 100, and our answer is 50%. 50%. Now, for us to get our price elasticity of demand, we have the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price, which is minus 10% divided by 50%, which is also known as minus 1/5 or 0.2. That's our final answer. That's our final answer. Now let us move to our options here. Our answers here is 0.2. Now for us to know the answer, let us check the options. What is the price elasticity of demand? Now we have less than 1, we have 0, we have 1 greater than 1. Now of course our answer is less than 1 because we have 0.2. That's correct. Moving to the next slide, we have solved this earlier. Now let us move to the next activity. Now in the diagram, which demand curve has perfectly elastic demand? Of course, we have shown a lot of price elastic demand. Now let us check. We have option A, B, C, D, which is perfectly elastic. Of course, the option should be D. D is the line for perfect elastic demand. Moving to the next slide, where we have the determinant of price elasticity of demand. Now we have availability of substitute, nature of the commodity, proportion of income spent, and price range. The main factor that determines whether demand is elastic or inelastic is the availability of substitute of a similar quality and price. If a product does have a close substitute, it is likely to have an elastic demand because we have in the nature of the commodity that should be necessity and luxurious, and we also have proportion of income spent and at the same time price range. Now we have an activity here. We have an activity. What characteristic is likely to make the demand for a product elastic? Of course, we just said that earlier. It has close substitute, it is necessity, it is habit forming, it is relatively cheap. What is the answer? It has close substitute. Of course, it has close substitute. Moving to the next slide, where we have the significance of price elasticity of demand. Now we have the consumer and we have consumers, producers, and government. PED is important to consumers because they benefit from lower prices and higher quality when demand is elastic, that is, when demand is greater than producers. It is significant to producers because they also need to know the extent of any rise in demand so that they can consider whether to cut the price or not. And to government, they also need to know the price elasticity of demand when taking decision on its subsidy and taxation policy. Now let us move to the next activity. Now where we have past question here. So what effect will a fall in price have? Of course, we have discussed this earlier. Demand will not change. Is that so? No. Total revenue will rise? No. Total revenue will fall? No. Demand will change by greater percentage. Of course, that's the correct answer. This will be the end of our class. Stay tuned to our website www.edubbey.com. See you soon.